Hi guys, this is Zoe, welcome in another video. And today we are discussing a pretty personal topic that really that I'm really interested in. And so this is our question is the weird and whimsical girl stereotype a new form of surrealism? Okay, let me explain it to you. So I got this idea by the thoughts I have when I'm in class and I'm bored, and suddenly I was like, ooh, I love surrealism, and I always define myself as like a weird and whimsical girl. Like if you've seen like my bio on YouTube, that's literally the first thing I'm saying. Like that's the way I like to present myself to the other. And I think it has a link with my interest for surrealism. And so I feel like there might be like a link between those two things. And I think that's really interesting. If you don't know, I'm really interested in art history. I hope I can make it my job one day. And so yeah, so I'm gonna kind of like part this video so that you can understand what I mean by postulating that being a weird and whimsical person is a new form of surrealism. And so first of all, we gotta start with like the base of my like theory. And so this base is the historical creation of the surrealist movement. Okay, so let's get back to Zurich, 1916, in Switzerland. There's some guys like in a bar, and they're like, ooh, war is bad because like we're in the middle of the First World War. Like there's some atrocities that we've never seen before. And so there's a group of guys and girls, and they're like, ooh, like it's bad, like we don't align with these values, and like the society in its like whole seems to be like okay with that. And so they're like, okay, so then if the world gets into such an absurd direction, why not like make some pretty like absurd art as well? And that is like the birth of Dada. So Dada is a movement. So before surrealism, we're gonna get to that after. And so like its main purpose is to be like absurd, rejecting all the norm of beauty in arts, and like being like a revolt against the atrocities of the war. And so at quite the same time, like in 19, there's a group of guys in Paris, and they totally align with the ideas of Dada. And those guys are mostly André Breton, Louis Aragon, Philippe Soupeau, probably Paul Éluard too. And so André Breton start to talk with like the leader of the Dada movement, and both of them get close, and André Breton and his other friends like start to get close to that movement. And so André Breton and all those guys, they are mostly writers. And as they get closer to Dada, almost like participate in the movement, they start to feel like, okay, that's great, we are against war too, but Dada is getting like into a nihilistic kind of political directions. Like they are like revolting against like the society, but they are not proposing any solutions and all. And that's a huge part of why surrealism was born and didn't stay with the Dada movement. And so a lot of things happen. Like it's hard. It's like it's way more complicated than just they weren't politically aligned. But those guys, Audrey Breton, Philippe Soupeau, and all, they're like, okay, we don't want to stay with Dada anymore. And at the same time, Freud has theorized the subconscious things and all. And so André Breton and his friends started to get like interested in that thing. And they got a guy called Apollinaire who died right before the war came to an end. And this Apollinaire, he was like a poet, and he was like really like the main figure of modernity in literature at the time. And so André Breton and all were like really inspired. And that guy, Apollinaire, why am I talking about him? It's because in 1917, there was a ballet called Parade in Paris by like Eric Satie, Pablo Picasso, Jean Cocteau. And Apollinaire said that this ballet was surrealist. And that's it. That's how the term was born. But it didn't it wasn't at the time like the name of the movement. And yet, in 1924, André Breton publishes the first Surrealist manifesto. That's the birth of Surrealism. And as well as Dada, as I told you before, it's a movement that's really like against like the norms of beauty, like it's leading into the absurdity in the art and all. But there's a twist I told you about Freud. And that's the specificity of surrealism. They are leaning into like the subconscious side of our spirits, and they want to create a new form of art that's not like bounded by our conscious part of a spirit. Like it's the expression of our subconscious, creating some like whimsical artworks, some way more like free things, and like it's leaning into some kind of fantasy at some point. And so, with this basic knowledge on what is surrealism, we can, at least to me, like compare it with the rise of the weird and whimsical, mostly girl aesthetic. Because I feel like it's like those terms have been around for such a long time. I think there's a rise of it at a point where it's like our society is, sorry for the word, like it's getting fucked up. Like there's war everywhere, you don't even understand why. Like it's freaking scary. Like we are in a world with the rise of also like artificial intelligence. Like we're at some point where some people are like, what are we doing? Like some people like I personally don't align with the values of this new society. Like, of course, we live in that, and of course, like I'm a part of that. We are all a part of that. But I feel like the weird and whimsical whole like aesthetic came up as a response to that, as a response to being chronically online. Even though that's like the interesting twist of it, like. It's like an online sub-community, like this whimsical aesthetic. But it's in the same time a reaction to those like artificial artificial intelligence things and all. And in that way, I think we can compare it first of all to the essence of like anti-war, like absurdity of the society. A sense that surrealism had. And second of all, in this like whimsical thing, there's like we are leaning into our almost like childish self. We are like rediscovering the world around us. We are getting sometime into like esoteric things. And in that way, I think we, in like a more modern way, try to explore also a part of our subconscious, part of ourselves that we kind of forget it with the rise of social media and all. And so yeah, I think like the weird and whimsical allegations are like a new form of surrealism. Of course, that's not the same as before. Of course, we won't probably write like a whimsical manifesto. Well, that could be cool, but like it's not an art movement. But to me, it's like an expression of the essence of surrealism. I don't know if you if you stay with me on my idea. But yeah, I thought it was great like to talk about it to you and to also like present you somehow the surrealist movement. And yeah, I hope I can make like some more documented video on that topic, because this one really is like probably very messy. But anyway, I just loved it. I hope you liked it. I would love to know what you think about that idea in the comments. And yeah, bye, Gary's!